Film Club.
Nicolas Cage, allowing to be Nicolas Cage.
Thank you very much for joining this episode of Film Club. I'm one of your hosts, Andy Harrison. To my right, as always, it's possibly Nicolas Cage, Andy Donaldson. Every single week in Film Club, we invite you along to watch a film with us. We dive into some of cinema's best before coming back here to talk it out. Andy, this week, we took a look at The Beach.
The Beach, Danny Boyle. So The Beach is about a bloke called Richard, and he wants to find this. He wants to find himself. He goes travelling to find himself, but he doesn't want to find himself and conform to the norm. He wants to find a special place to find himself. So then he finds out about this through Robert Carlyle, about this amazing, majestic place called The Beach, and this lovely sense of a different life, a life where you're not conforming to the norm. And he goes and finds it, and then shit hits the fan.
Yeah. And it's Danny Boyle, like, post-Trainspotting.
Yes.
But late 90s? Sort of, I
it's
can't
got
remember exactly the
very
year
nice
it
film,
came
this.
out.
I mean, this has got like All Saints in the soundtrack. It's like proper 90s.
Can we start on the soundtrack?
Oh my god, I loved it.
Because the soundtrack, I think, is the most standout element of the film.
I agree. I completely agree with you. For me.
And although I don't like that All Saints track, for example,
I love it.
I think that it's very well implemented here.
Yeah, it's on at work quite often. I mean, you got stuff like Moby All Saints. You've got what's the other famous one as well? It's Faithless Towards Start and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Who are class live, by the way. Oh my god, there's a moment, by the way, I went on a slight tangent. One of my favourite moments, seeing Faithless at Tina Park, and then this guy like about there where the wall is, this red flare is like proper kicking off like this. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Class. It's such an awesome soundtrack.
Soundtrack across the board is great. Danny Boyle is always so good at integrating soundtracks, and I really mean that, like an actual integration of soundtrack. He's not slapping music over the top of a scene.
It's just incredible. It's just he gets it in the moment. I like the way it transitions scene to scene. It's like the perfect song to do so. Trainspotting, perfect example with Underworld's Born Slippy and many others.
Do you know what's really cool to see actually? What's his name from Trainspotting in this?
Robert Carlyle.
Robert Carlyle, thank you. Yeah.
So I think it was him at the start. You know,
what's his character in Trainspotting called?
Bigby.
Bigby, thank you.
Yeah. So it was good to see him. I completely forgot because obviously he's a bit like crazy at the start, and then he comes over. It's like, oh my god, yes, he's Scottish. Oh my god, it's him and stuff like that. And then
I'd completely forgotten he was in this.
I did. Yeah. It's been right. Okay, let's go on to
that scene. Also, almost feels like a handoff between like Danny Boyle's previous work and now his current work.
Really,
it just feels like that sort of like. Here is Robert Carlyle handing off the lead role sort of thing to
I see what you mean.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
I see what you mean. Yeah, so he's gone off from his crew and he's kind of like expanding, going a bit potentially further. I haven't seen this in years. I was actually having a conversation last week's episode with End to Power Ven about Sweater Game, but also this is for you, but also about this being a Danny Boyle film, and I was like prepared to be amazed. I was very drunk when I sent that as well. I haven't seen this in a while. I'm not going to lie. I hyped it up too much.
Yep.
I remember this being a lot better than it was.
Yeah.
I know it's going to sound harsh. I did enjoy it still, but there was points I was like, eh?
I completely agree. And I have to wonder, is there a timer for people on this film? Is there a period in your life where you connect with what these like late teens, early 20-somethings are saying? And then at some point, do you age past that? But that sort of philosophical back and forth they have becomes a bit watered down.
I agree, and also I feel like, again, going back to the music, I mean, we were born in the 90s sort of thing, so we like kind of grew up with that kind of stuff. Like we were still a bit young, but we grew up with that like awesome like soundtracks and stuff. So we're like going into like, oh, this is just a film that speaks to us all in every way. Watching it now, I wouldn't say it does.
I think it's also a lot of that stuff. Funny enough, the film is kind of it's got Fight Club vibes about it, right?
Yeah.
That sort of there's a lot of VO work that talks about from Leonardo DiCaprio that talks about like how people want to go on holiday or they want to experience different cultures
and they just watch TV.
But yeah, they want to bring a little bit of home with them because they actually don't want to leave the comfort of their own home. And what they're really doing is transplanting their like living room onto a beach somewhere. And obviously that's kind of the premise of the film. It's about getting away from that and actually experiencing something outside of that. And funny enough, I think this film might actually be a similar experience in terms of people who want to try out not foreign cinema, but cinema that exists in another country. Because it's obviously you get to step outside of the UK, you get to step outside of America, you get to step outside of your regular action film. but it's still kind of very safely handled in lots of ways. It still has a very safe structure to it. It still has a very likable hero. It still has like a romance story going on underneath
Well,
it.
you say a likable hero. Towards the end, he becomes a bit of an antagonist for me.
Yeah, no, that's a good point actually. That's good when he goes all
Bit weird.
kind of Rambo on everyone.
Yeah, that's when I started losing it a bit, to be fair. And like he gets those guys shot, and I'm like, these are just innocent people.
And I don't know how I feel about the video game integration with this film anymore.
So this is the part I remember actually thinking that it was like almost like, is that just me being surreal? Is that me remembering the beach where he does go on a like that sort of thing? Almost reminds me of anyone seen Shooting Stars, Bob Mortimer's dance. I'm sure you get down there. It reminds me a bit of that. And I watched it and I was like, I remember this being a lot more engaging, entertaining than it was watching it now. I was watching it now, I was a bit like,
But that sequence I don't necessarily have a problem with. It's just that sequence comes from a lack of setup because
Yeah.
he played a Game Boy once in the film, and somebody insulted him for having hands that were too unworked, too uncalloused, and clearly he'd played a lot of video games.
Yeah.
It's like that's all you get, and then suddenly we have the sequence at the end where he's running through a video game.
Yeah.
It's all very like, I get that he's meant to represent a certain generation of people who aren't like weren't necessarily as hardworking as the generation that had come before them, and that's what he's meant to represent. But does Leonardo DiCaprio actually represent that? Like, I don't know.
It was
really
a weird
don't
one
know.
for me. It was a weird one. And then you have the. To be fair, I thought it was a really good idea of a scene. Like, you know, you got this amazing like kind of what's the word? Safe haven. This lovely kind of paradise. That's the word, paradise. And then obviously what happens to the Swedes? You know, they get bitten.
Like, best scene in the film, I think.
Yeah, and the fact that they move the guy and it's just that there's a massive. Everyone's like quiet. He's like, shut up, and then they move him. That was awesome.
And you get like this quiet moment down here where it's just this aerial shot of the blood trail on the beach, and he just kind of sits there for a while
I know.
and just kind of looks at this dead body.
But then I was taken out. I was like proper in it like this, and I got taken out. And the part I got taken out was when the the French guy he meets. I'll get his name. And nothing against the guy. It's just the moment, unfortunately. Etienne, the boyfriend of Francois.
Yeah.
So it's done by Gualami Kane. I might have absolutely mispronounced that. I'm sorry.
Right.
He's all right throughout the film. There's nothing wrong with him. But in that particular moment, his delivery of something is just, what are you doing? Why would you do this? And all this. I'm thinking,
Which one are we talking about?
he's when they move him to they move the Swede that's injured to the tent.
Yep.
And he's like, basically there. He's just next to them like this. He's like, why are you doing this? What are you doing like this? We're all there.
I see.
And it just feels a bit like, it just feels acted.
Yeah.
And I was just a bit like, I was proper taken back out the scene. I was thinking, I'm watching a film now. And that little moment where, it can't just put it down to him. It may be a bit of the direction, whatever. Point is, it just kind of like, I was like, oh, fuck, that was such a good scene. And then that happened. And I think...
There's also like, this film now has this horrible little sort of like meta story to it as well. I've told you I've been to the beach, right?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Little island off the coast of Thailand.
He's one of them.
Been there. I'm a very well-travelled, well-versed man. I've been to the actual beach, and now that, although ironically this film is all about them protecting that island, protecting that beach from people coming and flooding it with tourism.
Yep.
That beach has now been flooded with tourism.
Yeah, it's
in
rough.
fact, to
They've
the point that,
stopped, haven't they?
yeah, so for a couple of years they had to limit how many boats were allowed to go into the beach at any point, like into the actual cove at any point. And then eventually they had to stop it completely because all the reef
the
was getting
ecosystem and stuff.
absolutely destroyed.
Well, what's interesting is you've got that one beach that's just off a film, but from what I've heard of other people, there's loads of places around that area where everywhere's lovely like this.
Oh yeah, the whole place is really lovely. But when they were scouting it, apparently originally, they did find it almost literally as it is in the film. Like no one was taking people there. There was no tourism going to the island. There was no boats going there every day. It was literally just like this untouched beach they can go and film on.
That's just a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think I'd read something a while back about the crew left it in a pretty bad state as well.
Really?
After they'd gone and shot there. Shame, real like genuine shame. Not a commentary on the film, really, in any respect. Just
it's a bit backstory behind it.
Yeah, little shame. But yeah, it's a funny film where it still has, right. I don't want to sound too negative about this because it still has the Danny Boyle energy to it.
Yes,
and it still has this sort of like a mix of it's beautiful, like it's always has this lovely cinematic eye, Occasionally we get some dodgy effects, but it's the 90s. We'll let that stuff slide. You get this beautiful film. You get it pumped full of energy. You get a sort of almost like somebody who is on the line of still being an indie filmmaker. You get some of that sensibility coming to him.
I get that.
I love it when he's taking the orders for people.
Yes.
And everyone's coming up to him and
I
saying
love the
what he
editing
wants.
at that scene as well.
Yep, exactly. And it's this like these head-on shots, these point-of-view shots from DiCaprio, and we just cycle through characters after characters after characters. Reminds me a lot of Trainspotting.
Yeah. You can hear that there's a massive boat going off.
Every time we part of the boats, no one can ever hear him.
I know. So I think it is. I think it's got a sense of nostalgia for me and you, as I pointed out in our comments last week. It definitely does. But I remember watching it again, and I didn't have the same love for it. And it's a shame.
I always used to be the sort of person who would defend the beach a bit more than other people would.
Especially after
people shit on this film. It's not. I don't think it's a really bad film. I think it's a bad rap, but I'm also not going to defend it as much as I used to.
I agree. I'm 100% behind it.
But anyway, there is the beach. You can let us know what you thought of the beach in the comments below, or you can hit us up on Twitter as well. If you love the beach, please let us know why you love it. But also, if you are one of those people who hates the beach, give us a well-structured, thought-out reason as to why people hate the beach. You know I'm talking about hands. But Andy and I are going to be back once again next week, where we take a look at
Dead Poets Society.
Dead Poets Society.
I've been meaning to watch this.
So, until then, get watching.